Daniel Haqiqatjou had a debate with some Haqiqatjou had a debate with somebody you know, right? So I wanted to take a look at that. Yeah, let's see. Let's this
Nuriyah,
one.
yes. All
So
right.
so the title of this video, I haven't watched this, so I don't know what we're about to get. It says feminist ex-Muslim schooled on benefits of hijab.
Yeah, I
So
think I
this
know.
is a debate between Daniel Haqiqatjou and Nuriyah Khan. And Nuriyah Khan, for the benefit of me and you, Harris, so that we don't get horny, has been picked. Is it working? Is it working? The pixels
Don't,
are
don't ask me. I'll get in trouble. 'Cause I know
So
it's still
thank you,
working.
Daniel Haqiqatjou. Without those, it's still working.
No, no, sorry. I mean, it's not. No, it's still not working.
It's still.
No, I mean, like, yeah, I get it. I think people get it.
Okay. Okay. All right. But thank you, Daniel Haqiqatjou, because without those pixels, I would have lost control. I would have had to like just leave here and just go take care of myself. But let's see what this debate is about. Okay.
Where is the proof that forced coverings make marriages happier? Most women, when given the choice, will not choose to cover up.
Do you think that whatever people want should be the law? We have laws that restrict people's choices, and the laws are supposed to be based on what is actually going to help society.
Oh my God. Is this how he's schooling her?
Yeah,
That is so dishonest. You changed the topic. That's a straw man fallacy. She's talking about happiness in marriage, and instead of responding to what she's saying, like you have made a claim about covering women makes marriages happier. She's asking for how do you know that? Happiness comes with people doing things that they choose to, not having things forced upon them. So she's asking you, how do you think covering women would lead to extra happiness? And instead of answering her question, you answer a different question that she did not ask. You're like, do you think that everything people look at the question, look at what the words that he's putting inside her mouth. Look at this. So let's go from the beginning. Right? Look at what the point was and how he pivots to a completely different topic. Look at this.
Where is the proof that forced coverings make marriages happier?
It's very clear. Where is the proof? Where is your proof that forced coverings make marriages happier? That's a very good question.
Most women, when given the choice,
will
not choose to cover.
Yeah. So here's show us the proof, and she's making a very good point, because it's rational to think that if people do the things that they choose to do, okay,
they're happier.
That would lead to more. Yeah, that would lead to more happiness. We have shown this time and time again. More freedom, not absolute freedom. Okay, more freedom as much as possible, as long as it doesn't it doesn't
negate harm principle and doesn't infringe on other people's happiness, etc.
Rights. It doesn't negate other people's rights. So your freedom ends, okay, where my right begins, right? So as long maximum freedom, not absolute freedom, maximum freedom leads to happier lives. So Nuriyah is pointing out that if you want happiness, if you want more satisfaction, we need to give people more freedom. Right? But if you're saying otherwise, if you're suggesting otherwise, do you have any proof for this? Show me the proof. And look how Daniel responds.
The choice will not choose to cover up.
Do you think that whatever people want should be the law?
What are you talking about? Is that what she said? Did she say whatever people want should be the law? What you're saying has nothing to do with her point. You made a claim about happiness and woman covering. She's asking for the proof. She didn't say, I think whatever people want should be the law. That was not at all her point. You're pivoting. This is so dishonest. This is so sleazy. What a sleazebag. Anyway, let's listen to the rest.
We have laws that restrict people's choices, and the laws are supposed to be based on what is actually going to help society, what veiling and
yeah, okay, so we have laws that limits people's choices, right? For those laws, this actually proves Nuriyah's point. We want maximum freedom until we realize a limitation, until we have proof that a specific limitation makes societies happy. So we as liberals, we are not for absolute freedom. We assume freedom is the good thing until we have proof. The burden of proof for the limitation should be on the people who want to introduce the limitation. If you give me a proof that this limitation makes society happier, then we will accept that limitation. For example, if you show me that stopping behind a red light, cars not just driving through, if you prove to me that limitation makes a society happier, we will accept that limitation because we have demonstrable proof beyond reasonable doubt that yes, forcing people to stop behind the red light makes a society happier. So we accept that. So again, what you're saying proves Nuriyah's point. Okay, you want to make this a law, you want to force this limitation on people. Show me the proof that makes society better. We can't just accept that.
Do you think that whatever people want should be the law?
No. But if you want to make a law, if you want to make a limitation, you have to meet Nuriyah's challenge. You have to meet the challenge of showing us a proof. Yeah.
We have laws that restrict people's choices, and the laws are supposed to be based on what is actually going to help society.
Yes, exactly. You should show us that it helps society.
Veiling and gender separation reduces promiscuity.
Okay, promiscuity. Again, that's your Islamic perspective, as in that promiscuity is bad. Again, you have to show us that promiscuity is bad for society. Again, maybe at what level? Because maybe promiscuity, like your level of Puritanism, and your level of limitation of people's sexual relationship is one extreme, and there's certain levels of promiscuity that is another extreme. You guys, what you do is you go find those extreme to make excuses for your extreme. But there are a lot of healthier alternatives in between that you have no evidence that is bad for society. For example, people having certain level of
less children. He's basing this argument on promiscuity has broken down the family system. As a result, we're not making as many babies.
Yeah, no, but for example, having some experience outside of marriage before you get married or before you have a committed relationship to somebody, not going out having sex with one person every night or having 500 sex partners before marriage. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad for your health. That's going to mess up your commitment, your relationship after. But having a little bit of an experience, having some experience with other people before you commit to somebody, there's no evidence that's harmful. So what you call promiscuity has not been proven to be harmful to society. So now you're saying,
and one more point too.
Yeah,
and one more point too. That actually doesn't show, veiling itself does not prove that lowers people's desire to have sex or promiscuity as well. There is no evidence of that. Yeah, you think that you've contained it, you've put women in veils, but where does it end? If a woman is walking around in the streets veiling, how do you know that she's not going to hook up with some dude? You can go one step further. You could say, okay, I'm not going to let her get out of the house. I'm going to keep her inside the house then. Well, then veiling becomes totally irrelevant in this case because inside a house, you don't need veiling. So again, Nuriyah's initial point was prove to me, and he hasn't given any evidence. He's just given a rhetoric.
Yeah. And promiscuity is not a bad thing either. Only extreme versions of it could be bad, but it's not even bad.
This is the same guy. Very quickly. This is the same guy who said that university education will lead to women's empowerment, which will eventually lead to OnlyFans. Remember that?
Yeah.
so everything ends there.
Yeah.
This is proven. Look. Go to religion and sexual behaviors, understanding the influence of Islamic cultures and religious affiliation for explaining sex outside of marriage. by Amy Adamczyk in the
He thinks he's proving harm. You're like, oh yeah, I have proven harm. Look, this has been proven. Look, there's a correlation between Islamic belief and not people not having sex out of marriage. Yeah, but that would be proving harm if we saw sex out of marriage as harmful. So you haven't proven anything.
American Sociological Review. She talks about how the levels of cheating, infidelity, and promiscuity and STDs are far lower in Muslim countries and Muslim societies. Muslim countries in Africa.
That's not the case, because if you go to Japan and Taiwan, okay, and South Korea, they also have these things as very low, and they're not Islamic. Again, this is actually more correlated to poverty than it is to Islam. Here, let me listen to this.
Africa have the lowest rates of STDs and HIV compared to other countries. Is this due to gender norms, gender separation, veiling? Yes, absolutely. Read the study.
That is the
Wait, let's go read the study. Hold on, let me find the study. Okay, because he doesn't.
Promiscuity studies too.
Yeah,
Promiscuity studies too. As inspiring philosophy
Promiscuity.
has exposed him now. He hadn't even read
Yeah,
that.
we exposed them with your debate. We exposed them. He went and looked at what was that country, Botswana. Yeah.
And
even
also,
with your
no,
debate,
but there's another fallacy.
When I
Yeah,
did
go on,
the
go on.
review, when I did the review of the debate that he did with you, I went and looked at the studies that he cited, and he always misrepresented the study. Every single study that he cited, he had misrepresented it. He had misrepresented the study. But yeah, go on.
The fertility argument as well, he made that all Muslim countries have higher fertility rates, and then we look at those Middle Eastern countries, and again, because he's ignoring the economic factors in that, so the Gulf countries who have a higher economic propensity, they have 1.7, 1.8, 1.6 births per female, so they're not non-Muslims. But then when you point that out to them, then he says, oh, no true Scotsman fallacy. No, they're not real Muslim countries now. They're not Muslim anymore. So again, in this case, if that suits his narrative that, oh, there are less STDs or less because of less promiscuity, then he would say, see, Muslim countries. So they play the bat from both sides. It's just dishonest way of looking into things, and it's just dishonest.
Okay, I found the study. I could just go summarize the study for me.
Summarize. That's another thing. Now we can actually fact check them so much quicker. We don't have to go through the whole study. Summarize the study. ChatGPT. Tell me what's going on in there.
The study found that individuals who are married and affiliated with Islam or Hinduism are less likely to report engaging in premarital sex. So here's the thing. This is based on self-report.
They're less likely to
report. So this is based on self-report. You might have more premarital sexual relationships, but because of your beliefs, you might report them less. So this is the report part, not the actual. It doesn't necessarily talk about how
promiscuity,
much
less promiscuity.
Happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Compared to those
Lies.
who affiliate with Judaism or Christianity. So this is mostly based on shame culture rather than actually what happens. Okay. Additionally, married Muslims are less likely to report having extramarital sex compared to adherence to most other major religions, with Buddhists being an exception. This trend is not explained by restrictions on women's mobility, indicating that informal cultural norms and beliefs play a significant role in shaping behavior. Okay, so it's the beliefs, even the belief that play a role, not the restrictions. The study also reveals that Islamic religious culture has an influence on premarital sexual behaviors that is independent of individual beliefs. The Islamic religious culture. Okay, so the culture does have an influence. This supports the common concept that religious culture has effects that are not just an aggregate of individual religious affiliation. While the study highlights the influence of religion on sexual behavior, it acknowledges limitations in the data, including the lack of Middle Eastern countries in the sample. The lack of Middle Eastern countries, in the sample, and potential recall bias due to the length of the questionnaire. It also emphasizes that the influence of Islam on restricting premarital sex and extramarital sex could have practical implications in understanding the transmission and spread of diseases like HIV and AIDS, especially in developing countries. Okay, none of this talks about harm reduction. None of this talks about harm reduction, because we're talking about premarital sex, which is, we don't see it as a bad thing, right? The only part that talks about harm reduction is the
HIV.
HIV/AIDS part, which is, again, the study doesn't show it. It just says that it could have an impact on it, right? And
But the bigger point, I mean, on that, on the HIV and the other STDs is, if that is the only problem, let's just assume for a moment that is a problem, and less promiscuity will have less HIV and STDs. There's a solution for that. Condoms. You could encourage that. So
yeah,
what are you going to do then?
That's what I'm going to say.
What are you going to do then?
No,
Yeah.
that's the best way to prevent. Okay, so the best way to prevent HIV and AIDS is not to restrict women, is not to restrict their movement and force them to hijab, okay, to wear the hijab. It is to give them condoms, is to show them how to have safe sex. That has, if you want to figure out how to stop STDs, that has been proven over and over and over again, that that's the best method limiting the spread of STDs. This is
So
the
meaning-
hard way of doing it.
Yeah. So meaning we don't have to limit people happiness. We don't have to put if that is the metric, HIV, we don't have to. There you go. That was your problem. We've removed that problem through STDs, through safe sex practices. There you go. What's your argument now, Daniel Haqiqatjou? It's finished.
Exactly.
See, that's how he is. He's so dishonest. He's so dishonest, and he throws these studies in a debate. You can't fact check it then and there, and again, his followers are not the smartest people on earth. They don't care about these studies either. When this study, like we've shown it, that how he misrepresented the study, and he only put out the HIV STD safe sex practice, and he used that as an argument as a justification to put veils on him, restrict women's movement on the basis of that. And now we have told you that, okay, there's a better solution for that without encroaching on someone's happiness. They're going to say, well, we don't care. Allah is the best. Islam is the best. That's it. That's the solution. So that's why as you said, Armin, life is just way too good under liberalism to ignore it. This is just not they're dying. This religion and this mentality is going to keep dying. It just doesn't matter, no matter how pathetic or how ingenious they think they are in coming up with responsive rebuttals. It ain't going to work.